Hey everybody, it's Ron, and welcome back to Conan Book Club, where I'll be going through this edition called The Coming of Conan the Cimmerian, and giving my thoughts on each story. This week I'm going to be covering two stories because the first one, titled The Frost Giant's Daughter, is very short, so I'm going to be talking about that, and also The God in the Bowl, which is a little more lengthy. So let's start with The Frost Giant's Daughter. This is another simple premise, but I like the overall dreamlike quality this story has, and it's also interesting that Howard decided to write a story taking place after a battle instead of during it. And I think he was more interested in exploring some Norse mythology concepts instead of a full-on action-packed story. This story takes place in Nordheim, and Conan is the last man standing of his tribe, or whatever you want to call it, when the story starts, and he faces off against a final Vanir soldier. And the Vanir are gods in the Norse mythology associated with fertility and wisdom, so I didn't really understand why they are presented as mortal in this story, but like I've said in my previous video, I'm very new to the Conan mythology, so maybe this will be explained more, or maybe it just went over my head. But anyway, once Conan takes down the final red-haired Vanir, he collapses in exhaustion, and that's when he sees a woman named Atali, and she has a very otherworldly appearance that entices Conan, and he basically falls into her trap as she leads him away from the battlefield and taunts him every step of the way. So my interpretation of this is that Conan is having a vision when he was unconscious on the battlefield, but at the end you do learn that there were stories of Atali preying on surviving men during war to lure them to her frost giant brothers to kill, and she does this to Conan, but this is a Conan story, and he quickly turns the tides and defeats both of them, defying the odds and sending Atali away in a bolt of lightning. I like these type of concepts a lot, and I also like that Conan is just a mortal man taking on certain entities that he doesn't fully understand, but he comes through and defeats them anyway. And I enjoy stories like this because to me he's still the underdog in a sense, since he's younger in this story, but he proves himself and is able to stand up to things that are bigger than him. And I think that's why I enjoy books like the manga Berserk, for example, because the character Guts is kind of similar to Conan in that way. He's in peak shape for a human, and he has the will to defeat creatures that are stronger than him. So I think that's why I'm gravitating to these old Conan stories as well. So yeah, I dug this one. It was a little short, but the whole point at the end with Conan still holding the clothes of Atali tells the reader that the encounter obviously really happened. And this being one of Conan's first tales, it also shows the reader that his world is filled with mysticism and mythology, which is very intriguing. Okay, now let's jump over to The God in the Bowl. This one had sort of a slow beginning, not unlike The Phoenix and the Sword, and it throws a ton of characters at you. Conan is kind of like a side character in this, but I loved how he was utilized here. It's basically a murder mystery. And at first, Conan is the prime suspect. This story takes place in Numalia, which is a city in Numidia, and Conan is there to rob a museum at the same time that the museum's owner, Callian Publico, is found dead by the night watchman. Two more characters, Demetrio, a magistrate, and Dionysius, who basically is a police officer, show up. And I thought it was pretty funny that they don't apprehend Conan and instead let him hang around in the background. And they threaten to detain him multiple times, but Conan's responses to all of the threats are great because he's so confident and ferocious, and you can tell the other men are scared to try to take him down because he'll lop their heads off. The story gets much more interesting when it's revealed that one of Publico's clerks named Promero tells the men that Publico was in possession of a Stygian bowl that was found in the pyramids of Stygia, obviously. And this caught my attention because this is a callback to the Phoenix on the Sword story I covered in episode 1. and they even mentioned Thothamon in the story as well, so I like the subtle continuity on display even in these early stories. The murder of Callion Publico was caused by this ancient bowl, and the ominous nature of this item causes the men to flee, but Conan ends up confronting the serpent-like creature that was in the bowl, and the story ends very abruptly with Conan immediately chopping this thing's head off. So I thought that was pretty funny that there was basically no challenge to Conan, and he gets away without any repercussions. So although I did thoroughly enjoy both of these stories, I am looking forward to Conan facing bigger problems and maybe struggling a bit more with his foes before he defeats them, but we'll see next time. So please be sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of content, and thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Ron here with a quick announcement. When I started this channel, I was reading and reviewing the Dune books and other sci-fi related material, and most of you might not know that I'm also a musician. So when I was reading these sci-fi books, I started to get inspired and decided to make my own soundtrack to use for my videos, and now I'm excited to tell you all about the first volume in the Ron Reviews original soundtrack collection. This album includes the first 17 tracks featured on my channel, and it's available now exclusively on Bandcamp. Be sure to check the description of this video for the link to the album. Thanks so much for the support so far. I know I'm just starting out, but I hope you're having as much fun as I am. So check out the original soundtrack Volume 1 on Bandcamp. This music is great if you want something moody and atmospheric to listen to while you're reading some science fiction. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.